in spite of me.
Alanis Morissette, one of the most successful female singers to ever hit the music biz, history-making in fact, and it all started right here in Canada. Alanis was born and raised in Ottawa. Her folks were school teachers. She began playing piano at the age of 6, and she wrote her first song when she was just 10 years old. Oh, by the way, you may recall that program, You Can't Do That on Television? Well, Alanis was a regular. Now, a couple of years later, Alanis went back to music. She signed her first record deal. She actually was known as the Debbie Gibson of Canada. Not a moniker she liked, and fortunately, dance pop really wasn't what she was going for. So what'd she do? Well, Alanis packed her bags and did what a lot of Canadians did. They moved to Los Angeles. She met a producer by the name of Glen Ballard, and they started writing a record. They recorded it, and that record made music history. Jagged Little Pill became the best-selling international debut album by a female artist. It is currently the 10th best-selling album of all time. It sold an astounding 30 million copies. 30 million. After the sales comes the awards, the Juno Awards, the Grammy Awards.
Jagged Little Pill.
She had a grueling 18-month worldwide tour, and a couple of years later, she had the honor of following up Jagged Little Pill. She released her follow-up called supposed Former Infatuation Junkie. Actually, she started acting again as well. She played the small role of God in the Kevin Smith picture Dogma. Since then, Alanis has released 3 studio albums, hosted the 2004 Juno Awards, you may recall the naked bodysuit, and in 2007, Ms. Morissette was inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame. Her new album is called Flavors of Entanglement. The latest single is called Not As We.
Step one, barely making sense.
Everybody say hello to Alanis Morissette. Is it good?
Yeah, great.
Man, you laid it all out on this record, didn't you?
It's what happens. It's what happens when I write songs. There's something about being in the studio that just the flip of the switch and there's no holds barred.
It's a brave place to be, isn't it?
Thanks. Yeah, it is a little terrifying until it's not. Every night before the record comes out, without fail, each record, I have this moment of terror. And then I go to sleep again, and then I don't worry about it.
What's the terror about? That people will know what you're thinking, or just to see how they receive it?
I don't care how people receive it. I think they'll beautifully and predictably kind of interpret it through their own lens. It's how it works in my experience. But I'm a human being, and there's some fragile moments and some shame moments that I'm working through. And to do it publicly, it's not for the weak of heart. Yeah. So I get a little scared sometimes.
Okay, so when I listen to this record, I can just imagine now I don't know you, but there's a lot of crying in the studio when you made it?
This one, there was probably 1 or 2 cry moments. And usually the engineers are very sympathetic and sensitive, and they'll just kind of avert their eyes.
Let her have a moment.
Give a little tissue and look away. But every record, there are moments of crying and laughing and being horrified and not being precious and laughing at myself. And whenever I'd come in the studio for this record, Guy Sigsworth, whom I worked with, said, what horse from the apocalypse is coming in today, Lance? Nice. So there's always a little blood or sweat or tears or something on it, spit.
As an artist, does it kind of suck that really the best music comes in the worst time in your life?
Sometimes that's the case, but also I think the 2 great life forces that create great art, in my opinion, are joy and anger. So joy also does. Little infatuation songs here and there are really fun.
There's a couple pseudo-joyous numbers on here.
Yeah, this one was sort of the chronicling of the crash, the burn, the rock bottom moment, and then I like to think the phoenix eventually rises.
When you go on stage and you sing songs that mean something so deeply to you, the more you sing them, are you reliving those moments, or is that you slowly letting go of those moments?
Well, I'm an emotional content person, so I have the greatest memory about the emotional journey of something, but if someone asks me the specific thing that happened, I won't remember any of it. So yeah, when I'm on stage, I'll definitely access the emotional flavor that was going on in that song, and I can go from one to the next pretty easily. But sometimes I'll think about something else. If I'm singing You Ought to Know, I won't always be thinking about that era. Mm-hmm. I'll be thinking of this era, or I'll be thinking of something else I'm particularly angry about. If I'm PMSing, I'll channel it into that song, whatever's going on.
People don't know this about you is the fact that you're one of the first artists to have recycled paper. Now that everybody's talking green and all that, your records used to come out of recycled paper.
Yeah, and at first it wasn't something that was normal, and I think as with any new initiative, it's a little expensive at the beginning, so I paid for it myself. Yeah. And there were a lot of things we do. We run as best as we can, run our buses on biodiesel, we recycle, use recyclable batteries when we can, and little things here and there.
You know, the thing we're working on this program is 1 million acts of green. And the
I heard, yeah, that's so great.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We gotta get Canadians.
If you don't save this planet, I'm telling you.
That's right. Listen, dude, I'll be listening to your song and I'll be crying at more than 2 or 3.
Yes, I'm eating it because there's no more resources.
That's right. Do you feel like you have a moment where you do that sort of thing? Do you talk to other artists about it and inspire them and say, hey, look, here's what I'm doing? I remember hearing Neil Young was traveling in a biodiesel bus, and I thought, hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What if Neil Young would get other people to do it?
I think when people hear about it, they might be influenced. Artists and, fragile, sensitive artists in general, we all have huge egos, so we don't like being told what to do. But we all influence each other, of course.
What's your 1 million act of green? What are you going to do?
What am I going to do?
You need to save the world. You're the one with the records.
What do I do? Well, I recycle at home. The thing I haven't really done, which I'd like to do, and I will commit to it here in front of you and God and everyone, is composting. Just more actively in my house.
Well, and then you got the little buckets now, you can do all that, right?
The buckets, you make the pile and the rats thing, and you got to close it off if you have dogs. And so there, I'm ready to do it.
All right.
Yeah.
You're going to keep your word?
Oh, yeah.
1 million act of green, Alanis Morissette's going to compost.
Compost.
It's amazing. You're a young woman. You're in this new stage of your life. You've got another record. And the Phoenix from the Flame, the Phoenix, it is a beginning. Does it feel like that for you?
Always birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. That's everything that happens is temporary for me. Some of them are longer moments of temporariness, but everything's temporary.
You were really happy, and I suppose you were really sad for a while.
I was everything for a while, but I'm everything now. I think I stopped aspiring to be happy a long time ago because happiness is such a temporary state.
No, I'm with you. I don't think it's real. I think peace is real. You can strive for peace.
Yeah. So there's this peace that underlies all the different. I hate to use the word flavors, but all the different flavors.
Of entanglement.
Hi, nice
FYI.
to meet you. Okay, so all these different flavors of humanity: happy, sad, scared, upset, devastated, excited. All of them happen on the bedrock, ultimately, of this peace of knowing that I'm just observing all of this and that it's a real playground. So I derive great peace from the knowledge of that.
Do you have a mentor?
I have millions of mentors.
Because there's no real college course for this life.
No.
And
wish there was a handbook.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
In 1995, I thought, how great would it be to have a handbook?
You need to read Hammer of the Gods or No One Here Gets Out Alive.
Really?
The Jim Morrison book, that is the how, what not to do in this business.
Okay.
That's your handbook. No, but you're right, there is no
the
handbook.
Opposite handbook.
Yes. Do you have someone that you can talk to and go, I don't know what, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to do this.
Oh, yeah. I have a lot of amazing mentors and teachers in my life. They're psychologists or authors or friends or family members, and they're all teeming with wisdom and experience. And, it's a little odd what I do. I feel like I'm this therapist psychologist in a rock star's body sometimes. Mm-hmm. So it's a push-pull. I feel like someone said the other day, it feels like I constantly have my foot on the brake and my foot on the accelerator all the time like this because I need to rest and take care of the sensitivity, but also be out there because it's such a part of my calling. So it's constantly calibrating that, and I have a lot of support.
Plus, if you were good and everything was fine, you probably wouldn't be able to create art the way you do, right?
Who knows? Maybe I would. Maybe if I was eating bonbons and sipping tiki drinks, I'd write great songs.
No, you see, I think you actually did one of those songs. One of the greatest things anybody's ever seen on YouTube was your Fergie song. The My Humps thing was phenomenal. Where did that idea come from?
Well, I had been going to the studio every day, and the emotion in the room could be cut with a knife, to be sure. And I just turned to Guy and I said, I would love to just write something so simple right now to clean the slate, like a sorbet of some kind. And I said, a song like My Humps would be perfect. And so we just had this pregnant pause and looked at each other and started reinterpreting it on the piano. And then about a week later, I invited my friends over to my house in my garage, and we shot the video, really not precious. And I put it up on YouTube thinking maybe a couple hundred people would get a kick out of it.
15 million people have seen it.
I know.
15 million. Did you do it to take the piss out of the role of, I guess where a lot of female pop stars where they had gone and what music was like at the time?
Well, no, I just really like the lyric, you gotta make you work, make you work.
It's great to see you. Thank you very much. It's Alanis Morissette, everybody. She's got a brand new record. It's called Flavors of Entanglement. I'll be right back.